The history of tanks begins with World War I, when armored vehicles were introduced on all battlefields in response to the problems of chasm warfare, ushering in a new era of mechanized warfare. Despite their humble beginnings and unreliability, tanks eventually became the mainstay of ground forces. By World War II, tank design had advanced significantly, and tanks were used in large numbers on all battlefields. The Cold War began the emergence of the modern tank doctrine and the emergence of general-purpose main battle tanks. These tanks are still the backbone of ground combat operations in the 21st century. The problem of advancing to attack while being fired upon by the enemy has existed since ancient times. The idea of using a moving object to protect against projectiles has also been around for a long time. In the Middle Ages, the Poles and Czechs had made armored chariots. And Leonardo da Vinci once designed a wheeled war vehicle. The tank was first used in war when Captain H. W. Mortimer carried a Mark I tank in the Battle of the Somme on September 15, 1916. The French developed the Schneider Ca-1 tank built from the Holt Caterpillar tractor, and it was first used on April 16, 1917. The battle took place at the Battle of Cambrai on November 21, 1917. And then the tank was successfully used in the Battle of Amiens, where the Allies managed to break the German trench defenses with the help of these armored vehicles. The role of the tank would eventually render the concept of trench warfare obsolete, with the French and British making thousands of tanks. Changes to the battlefield and poor performance of the tank forced the Allies to continue to develop this tank concept. Tanks continued to develop in World War I. During this time, various classes of tanks were developed, especially in England. The light tank, which weighed less than 10 tons, was used for monitoring tasks, and was armed only with a submachine gun which was only effective against other light tanks. Medium tanks or cruiser tanks are heavier and aim for fast travel over long distances. And lastly, heavy tanks or infantry tanks were tanks with heavy armor, which moved slowly. This tank was made to be used to penetrate defenses together with infantry. Its heavy armor allows it to withstand being shot by anti-tank guns. At this time almost all tanks are equipped with radios to facilitate direction and communication. The tank body has also been modified to be used for other roles, such as mine destruction and combat engineer roles. All the major warring nations have developed self-propelled guns, artillery, destroyer tanks, and assault cannons.